Hello everyone, welcome to a new chess video. Let's see, chess teacher, why do you have a trophy here today next to this board? Well, friends and dear subscribers, today I bring you an attack, an opening, call it what you will, that won me an entire tournament. I took first place, and here I have to show the proof on it. So we are 100% sure that this attack is going to be fascinating. It's a very, very strong attack, which some of you will find familiar done in another way, but this way is much more effective. Stop the chatter and explain this great attack to me. Well, friends, I want to ask you to see if we can reach. I'm going to lower the light goal a bit. We know we're few on this channel, but as I always say, better a few, but a united family like we are, than a huge channel where we aren't close to each other. Listen up. Let's try to reach 400 likes on this video, since I'm bringing you an attack that won me a tournament, and I'm explaining it for free to all of you. Thank you very much, friends. We're going to play, look, knight f3, attacking this pawn, and when they play knight c6, defending the Spanish opening. I'm sure y'all know this bishop b5, the Spanish opening. We have more than one video on this channel explaining it in depth, okay? But I don't have any video explaining this opening, this trap within the Spanish, which is what truly gives me these spectacular results. Very well, we play the Spanish opening, and notice that here they have many, many defenses against it, the most popular being which ones? Well, for example, a6, right? And for example, knight of 6. Aren't these two the most popular? And I'm sure they've been played against you many times too. Well, you can apply it against both. Let's assume, for example, that they play a6. Our idea is not to capture this knight here, but for now, what we're going to do is withdraw the bishop, but while it keeps pressing the knight. Super important not to withdraw the bishop backwards. Withdraw it towards the side of the board. When withdrawing backwards, it's true they can play b5, but absolutely nothing happens. In fact, it's the most popular, okay? In the Spanish theory, you know they usually play a6 to withdraw the bishop, and by withdrawing it here, we leave the option to play b5, but we don't care because we'll just withdraw it here. This is where we want to have the bishop. Perfect. Notice that here they're going to play knight f6. That's why I told you that if they play knight f6 first, absolutely nothing happens. They attack this pawn here. Very well. I'm sure you've reached this position many, many times. But what if I tell you that the star move that has won me so many games is this one right here, knight g5? Does it ring a bell? Does it look familiar? I'm sure it does. It looks like the fried liver attack, but from the Italian. Now we're playing the Spanish opening. It's not the same, okay? It's not the same. Look, here the most common move is d5, but now they aren't attacking our Italian bishop. They're just playing this pawn to d5 to prevent us from jumping with the knight and the bishop to the f7 square. This very important square we're fighting for. Notice that it's the only move. Let's see, trophy? Buddy, stay still, okay? Well, it's the only move that prevents us from coming here. Notice that if we look closely at the position, there's no other way to defend this square. With the queen, obviously not, because the queen doesn't defend against these two pieces. We'd capture, for example, with the knight or bishop, and the queen couldn't recapture unless they want to give it away. So we conclude that the only move that saves it is this one right here. Notice something super important. This knight could defend this pawn, but it has no squares. It could come here to defend, or here, but both are occupied. Well, I'm explaining this so you see they absolutely must play d5, super important. And now, what should we do? Well, very good, very simple. The only thing we have to do is capture with the pawn, right? You'll remember capturing with the pawn is super important. We're attacking this knight here, and now it's very likely they'll capture with this knight here. Notice that in the Italian fried liver, capturing here is a bad move, and there are better ones, but notice that here it's very hard to find a solution other than knight takes pawn without losing material, right? So knight takes pawn is what most people play, and here they've already fallen into our fried liver trap. Even though we're in the Spanish opening and not the Italian opening, we've managed to pull off this sacrifice here. Knight takes f7. Why is this sacrifice here so strong? Very easy. First, we're attacking the queen and attacking the rook. In other words, we're making a double attack. When we make such a strong double attack, we're forcing them to capture the sacrificed piece. Otherwise, we'd gain too much material and win the game. Now, why is this attack so strong? Because this bishop, from here well protected, continues to attack the king via x-ray, right? It's attacking the knight and x-raying the king. And that's where our queen comes in to deliver this check. Queen free check doesn't just give check, but it's also attacking the knight. Therefore, black has several options here. 1, move the king without defending the knight, and 2, move the king while defending the knight. Let's assume they make this move right here. They don't want trouble. They don't want to jump towards the center of the board with the king, which seems very logical to me because it's very scary to have the king here, and they want to keep it safe. Well, whether they come here or here it's even worse because of the pen. We'd simply capture this knight here with the bishop. We win back the piece or a pawn up, the king can't castle, and we have this strong threat on the knight, which notice can no longer be saved. So we'd win another piece. Conclusion: if in this position, after giving check with the queen to the king, if the king goes back, we'd win a piece, a pawn, and we'd be attacking much more than the opponent. Therefore, going back is a disaster. They have to come and defend the pawn with the king. And so now what? We're attacking with the bishop and the queen, and they're defending with the king and the queen. If we attack with 2 pieces and they defend with 2 pieces, well, we simply can't capture because we wouldn't gain anything. What move should we make? Well, we should take advantage of the bishop's pin on the knight, and we should develop our other knight. Look at what we're doing, putting pressure on this knight. Now it's 1, 2, and 3 pieces, while they only defend with 2. Although, now that it's not check, they can defend this knight in another way with their other knight, right? It's okay, all of this is part of the plan. Notice that all of these are forced moves. We've seen that if the king goes back, we'd win quickly. If the king goes forward, well, we'll have to work for it a little bit more, but it's okay because we can still win. Knight c3 to maintain the pressure on this knight right here. They have to defend with the other knight. There's no other way, okay? And now remember that we must continue with the next move, d4. This move is spectacular. What we want is to take advantage of the king being in the center of the board. I'm sure all you have been told at some point that the king should be castled and safe. Why? Because otherwise it's going to be too easy to attack, okay? Too easy to attack. So what we want is to open lines, open up this pawn here to be able to enter with the rook as well, and make this king's position even worse. How should they react? Well, they have to react in some way here. Capturing here wouldn't be a good idea, right? Because it would be opening all of this up and it would surely end very, very badly. So what they should do is try to make some move, like for example, a defensive one. Notice that at some point, if this knight moves, they'd be losing the rook and they'd practically be losing the game because we have a strong threat. So here at c6 is a move that seems to defend a lot. I'm going to show you this with c6, but any other move works too, okay? How should we continue? Well then, you didn't want to capture, so I'm going to capture you. Remember, okay? What we want is to open lines. They're playing very well. They're defending themselves very well. We want to open lines. Whoops, where are you going, Crazy Ton? We want to open lines against the king. We capture. I ask, would it be a good idea now to recapture with the king? Well, it seems there's no longer any option to save themselves, whether you capture or not. I'll show you. For example, how to win if they capture, because it's very simple, okay? Here, we'd simply have an advantage of plus 15. Do you know what a plus 15 advantage is? Like having an extra queen and a rook, even more. For example, we come here with the bishop. Even more pressure on the pieces. This piece is being attacked by 3. This piece is attacked by the bishop and pinned by the queen. Notice that I've looked for the best solution here for black. The best move was this one. Moving out of danger, it's fine, we're still at plus 15. Whatever they do, I don't care if they unpin and keep defending, we are completely winning. For example, bishop takes knight, okay? And what is our plan? Well, whatever they do, castle long, and we bring another piece in to apply pressure. We want to answer with the other rook. They can't do anything at all to us. Here are the opponent's responses. Here we already have a plus 32 advantage. Do you know what plus 32 means? If they try to escape with the king, simply, what should we do? Well, now, for example, we'd have knight takes d5. Notice that we win the game. They can't capture with the knight. Well, actually, they can, but they can't do much else, right? And now it would simply be rook takes, and then next we'd win the queen. Look at what a promising attack. But let's see what happens if they don't take the pawn with the king, of course. Well, without a doubt, capturing this pawn is much worse. We've already seen why. The king is left totally exposed, and it's too easy to win, for example, by coming here with the bishop. What if they make any other move? It doesn't matter to us. For example, I don't know, queen c7 comes to mind. Any move is the same. What we want to do is keep pressing. For example, now defending this pawn with bishop f4. With what plan? Well, exactly the same one. For example, castling in the next few moves, putting more pieces on the attack. We don't care what they play. For example, if they play bishop b7, which we've seen is the engine's favorite, but I don't care, okay? Whatever they do. Notice that we're going to continue with the same plan. Always remember the plan and not the exact moves, because the plan is the winning method. If we don't remember the moves in the game, then we won't know how to win. Or if they do something different, we castle long and apply even more pressure, and I don't care what they do. Even if they bring the rook to defend, well, what could I do? Well, I'll bring the other one. And look, this king is going to have a hard time being able to defend itself. And if he tries to leave with the king, chess teacher, what can I do? Well, notice that here it would be even more dangerous because he gets into a pin. If he comes this way, he gets into a pin. If he comes that way, he gets into another, and then we'll simply have to checkmate him. For example, e6 defended by the rook, no matter how much he takes cover, look, plus 35 advantage again. Why? First, because we win the queen. But it's not just that we win the queen, right? We've won the queen here with a discovered attack. That's why we place the bishop here. But regardless of whether we win the queen or not, our attack is too strong. We come with the bishop, jump with the knight, the two rooks. Look, you don't have to be a genius to see that we're going to end up giving checkmate here. Very well, chess teacher. They play this, everything's perfect. But what if they don't play perfectly like you tell me, of course? Your videos are very nice, huh? Here, playing. This comment made me laugh a lot. They told me, playing by yourself, it's normal that you fall into the trap. You're absolutely right, but that's why I insist. Please, okay? You stick with the plan, not just with the exact moves. And I think it's great you managed to put the trophy here. It wasn't that hard, was it, my friend? All right then. What happens if they don't play b5 here? Ah, well, now I'll explain it to you, because it's very important to know what happens if they don't play b5, because they might not play it. First, I'm gonna explain another idea that black can use against you with this attack, right? For example, knight f6. We come here to attack with both pieces, and when playing d5, upon capturing, many of you will tell me what I was just saying, right? What happens, just teacher, if they don't do what you told me? It could be that instead of capturing here, which would be great, they've fallen into the trap, right? They capture here, and I can already sacrifice the knight. Very good. But what if they play the correct way, which is to retreat this knight, like the good fried liver defense in the Italian game? It's played exactly like this, right? So you have to, how do you say this? You have to, I don't know how to talk. Well, it doesn't matter. They've captured this bishop. All right. They've captured this bishop. There's no other way. It's fine. They played better and took this bishop, but it's not over yet. Not by a long shot. We have super strong ideas to win here. How should we do it? Well, very simple. What we're gonna do is castle kingside. All right? Very well. Yes, you've captured this bishop. Absolutely nothing happens. It was a very important piece, but you've played much better. We're going to capture with this pawn to open lines for the rook, but this isn't the important part. But now, besides the fact they can win back this pawn while threatening this knight, look at how well black is playing, huh? Look, you won't complain because I'm teaching you how to win if they play very well. Well, very simple. So now we have a very pleasant position to play. Why do we have a very pleasant position to play? Because here, I'm going to recommend two moves. One, d4 to defend this knight. Very solid, but for the more aggressive ones, like me, I'll recommend queen f3, a spectacular move. It's true, we give away the knight, but look, it doesn't make much sense to take this knight because, sorry, what am I doing? Where did this bishop come from? Let's see, this bishop, what am I doing? Incredible, my bishop has powers. It came all the way here. I wanted to do this, huh? Forgive me. It's true, they can take this bishop here, but we could simply this knight here, but we could simply capture this other one. All right, forgive me, huh? Please. And now we'd be capturing this, attacking here, putting pressure here, which we could increase through here, even through here, making a discovered attack on the queen. And this would be too powerful. So it would be a mistake to capture this knight after queen f3. It's like this. This would be a mistake to capture this knight after queen f3. Very well. So how can they play? Well, here there are two logical options, and I'm going to show you how to win with both. If they play f6 and if they play bishop b7 with this pin. Both very logical. Notice that we're attacking to enter here with checkmate, right? First, now you'll see that this isn't exactly as I'm telling you, because otherwise we'd give checkmate, right? Pay attention. If they play f6, which seems like the most logical move in the position, very well. How should we continue? Well, by giving away this knight. This is what I propose, giving away this knight and playing knight c3. Chess teacher, you're going crazy again. No, don't worry. If they capture this knight here, which is most logical, absolutely nothing happens. Because look, after the capture of knight takes d5, we're in a delightful position. We have discovered attacks with the knight on the rook. These pawns are really bad, and besides, we're already castled and ready to put a rook on the e-file, where the king is totally exposed. We have d4 to open things up, we have this discovered attack threat, so without a doubt, this position is much, much better for the white pieces. There's no doubt about it. For example, if they play here, we could simply follow up with many moves. One of them, what would it be? Well, logically entering here, which I'm sure you all see, to make the discovered attack, right? Check, and we take the rook. Very well, chess teacher, this is all fine, but what happens, right, if they don't play f6? Because it's a very logical move. I'm gonna go back. Come on, I've gone back. I'm getting confused. What happens if when f6 is played, excuse me, we play knight c3? I'm reviewing the line carefully so I don't get careless. How do you say it in Spanish? I don't know. So I don't forget anything, okay? After playing f6, it could be that when we play knight c3, they don't take the knight and play, as I said, bishop b7. Now, I reviewed the line well, and I'm clear on it. What happens if they play bishop b7 now? It seems like a very, very good move, right? They protect this knight and also launch an X-ray attack on the queen. It seems very interesting. So we're going to take advantage of them moving this bishop to insert our knight on e6. Notice that this bishop no longer defends this square, and we attack the queen and also the bishop. Very well, they must move the queen. And we have an excellent move here, no matter where they move. Look, if you want, you can pause the video and see if you find it, because it's very, very beautiful. Very well, I'm gonna say it. The star move is to exchange here. Knight takes knight. Why? Because after the exchanges, look, okay? We're gonna sacrifice the queen, exchange everything on d5. That's a good move. You see it now, right? Now, no matter how much they capture here, we have this wonderful move, knight takes c7. And notice that the knight, all by itself, is dismantling the opponent's entire structure. Check to the king, the queen, and the rock. Whatever they do, when the king moves, we'll capture the queen and look at the solution. We have a piece and a pawn up, completely clean. Besides, we're castled and our opponent isn't, and they won't be able to castle. So extra piece, extra pawn, they can't castle, a total bargain position, and completely won for the white pieces. I'm gonna explain it very well so you understand, okay? What happens when playing the Ruy Lopez, when we want to set this trap, this attack that won me this very good tournament, when they play a6, right? And we pull back the bishop, you know this is a very good move. They don't play b5. They don't play b5, and we want them to play b5 because we want to place this bishop here without losing a tempo, right? Very, very important. All right, now I'll explain it to you. We're gonna play a very simple move, like d3, and I'll explain why. Right now, look at what the Ruy Lopez threatens. Taking this knight, which is the defender of this pawn, and when they capture here, capturing this pawn. But right now, it wouldn't be possible to do this. It would be very easy to win a pawn this way in the Ruy Lopez. It's not possible because there'd be the move queen d4, I'm sure you all know it, and if not, I'll explain, which attacks both the knight and the pawn. So by retreating with the knight, they would simply take this pawn with check, they get the pawn back, and we'd be worse off, okay? That's why in this position, we can't capture the knight with the bishop. Sorry, to win this pawn over here. All right, they don't play b5, and they play another move like knight f6, the Berlin defense. Very well, that's absolutely fine. What are we going to do? We're going to play d3. And now what do we threaten? Now, we do threaten bishop takes knight, and then taking this pawn, because look, bishop takes knight, pawn takes pawn, and then we take this pawn. The double attack would no longer exist because we have it defended. So d3 is a very, very good move. And what's the deal with d3? It's forcing our opponent to deal with the threat of bishop takes knight. Notice that the only way to stop this threat is to play b5, and then we're where we wanted to be. We pulled a bishop back here, and we're in exactly the position we wanted with a slight variation. Our opponent must now defend this point or make any other move, for example, d6, right? That would be one of the typical ones. Then we jump in with a slight advantage over the previous line. Our opponent has lost a tempo, and so they're going to play d5. Yes, we've also lost a tempo with d3, but look at the line after capturing here. We're in the same situation, but with the tempo spent, just like our opponent. Does it benefit us to have this 3? Well, look, by capturing here, we're forcing them to capture with the king, as always, because otherwise we'd win at least a rook, and then here we'd continue with the same attack. All right, notice that this bishop here was protecting this knight. In case you haven't noticed, this detail is super important, super, super important. Why? Because here we've captured, look, okay? We've put the knight here, boom, boom. And by capturing, here they're attacking this knight. Now it's defended by the bishop. You see it, right? So we capture here, they capture here, and then check with the queen on f3, and we also advance here. It's exactly the same, yes, but even now we have more of an attack. For example, if they make a stupid move like this, we'd win the queen, right? They probably won't do it, but anyway, they'll come here and we have exactly the same thing, but with the bishop already open. So I hope you loved this attack, that it looked good. I really hope so. Give me a big thumbs up, please, since I've shared this great attack that's brought me so much success. If you leave a comment, I'll be the happiest person in the world. And if you want to learn much more chess, please subscribe to the channel. I'm leaving this board in the description as always. With the code CHESSTEACHER, you'll get a discount, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.